Exporting these products, or any product, involves many people, numerous transactions, and critical paperwork. It's a business of detail, and attending to the details can make or break an export venture. Taiwan is one of the largest importers of apples from the United States. Not long ago, these apples were growing on a farm in California. How did they get to Taiwan in a timely manner and in good condition? We'll find out as we follow a shipment of Fuji apples from a California farm to a market in Taiwan. While tracking these apples, we'll highlight many critical aspects of exporting agricultural products. Of apples is based on a cost, insurance, and freight quote, CIF. It's also based on using a confirmed irrevocable letter of credit and being transported in a refrigerated container, first by truck and then ocean carrier. Not every product is shipped under these terms and conditions, but no matter what the product, 4 critical elements dictate the details of each shipment. The product being shipped, the country's requirements, that includes the United States and the foreign country where the product is destined, the buyer's requirements, and the requirements of the seller or exporter. It's the exporter's responsibility to know the technical requirements for their product and to determine the appropriate terms and conditions for each shipment. In an effort to gain a better understanding of this complex process, we'll focus on 4 major players and their roles in exporting. Richard Estes, the exporter-seller and vice president of Suma Fruit International. Louis Solis, the freight forwarder from Circle International Incorporated. Patrick Brecht, director of special commodities and technical services with the carrier, American President Lines Limited. And Shosha Wang, the buyer or consignee, vice president of WLH Group USA Incorporated. Each will discuss his or her role as we follow the shipment from the orchard and packing house in California through inland and ocean transportation to clearance and distribution in Taiwan. Market research is the first step in exporting. It's important to identify where the markets exist for your product and understand the preferences of overseas consumers, such as taste, product variety, product appearance, and packaging. Once you've done some investigation, it's time to identify specific customers. Recognize that this process doesn't happen overnight.
I would suggest if you're getting into the export business, get to know your market and then move slowly. Don't try and become the world's greatest exporter in any product you have in the first year. What you're trying to do is achieve relationships, and relationships are established over experience.
There are a number of ways to locate customers. A good place to start is with the USDA Foreign Agricultural Service. They have information on customers around the world. Other sources include the Department of Commerce, Foreign Commercial Service, State Departments of Agriculture, or your industry trade association. Once you've located a customer, both Shosha and Rick recommend checking each other's credentials before doing business.
If I have a contact over there, I will go overseas to meet them, to see their warehouse, see what kind of job they will do before I really do business with them, and I can feel more comfortable with it.
Know your customer. There's no way you can respond to them unless you've asked a whole list of questions. It's not unusual for us to have been on an airplane and gone and visited this account first. Oftentimes that's how we found the account. Trade references, I think, are very important. Is the customer known in the trade? How are they perceived by the people they sell to? Do they have a good reputation? Do they handle a full line of product, or are they known for a specialty? We want to know what are their banking references? Who do they bank with? I want to know how does a customer deal with a problem? So we check our customers out fairly closely.
Once both parties decide to do business, The transaction begins with a discussion of the details of the sale. The buyer follows up her initial inquiry with a request for a quotation from Suma Fruit.
After we make a contact with the supplier, and we usually will make a requirement, ask them what kind of food they have, what we require, what specification, how they pack, what kind of grade, what kind of price, and also what's the shipping date, when they can pack, how many load they can do. If everything agreeable on the pricing wise, then we will confirm the order, and they will send us the pro forma invoice.
Suma Fruit responds to the request by preparing a pro forma invoice. In this document, the exporter spells out the details of the transaction, such as the product description, including the variety, grade, size, and quantity, the terms of payment. In this transaction, a confirmed irrevocable letter of credit, or LC. The price. For new exporters, it's recommended to quote in U.S. dollars to reduce foreign exchange risk. And the terms of sale. In this case, CIF destination port, meaning cost, insurance, and freight Kaohsiung, Taiwan, based on the International Chamber of Commerce Incoterms. Incoterms are a set of international rules for the interpretation of foreign trade terms. Included in the CIF quote are the costs of transportation. In order to determine what the transportation costs are, many exporters consult with a freight forwarder.
A little bit of knowledge about the Incoterms is important if you're doing any kind of international trade. In fact, in our export seminars, we recommend that our customers read them carefully, at least the most relevant ones. What we often do is get a call that says, I'm going to be sitting down and negotiate with a buyer of my goods. They are in Taipei or Taiwan or somewhere. I am going to be sending this many crates or this many containers. Could you help me with the cost to move my product from Modesto, from Fresno to Taipei? Because I want to include this in my CIF quotation to the buyer. So we then break down very carefully the inland trucking cost, the actual carrier freight cost from, say, Oakland to Taipei, the handling cost, which is handling or documentation. And there generally would be a terminal handling charge to load the product onto the vessel. And then we're able to give a quote for the entire shipment to the shipper, which they then incorporate in their negotiations.
Freight forwarders in the export business are very valuable. They do a lot of work, and they actually serve as your agent, so to speak, especially when you're new in the business.
The most successful export programs really start long before we get the call that says, I need to ship this now. It starts at the planning phases of cost. For example, in that first organizing call, the shipper may ask, what's the best carriers to specify in my agreement? What are the best days of the week to ship? What route should we take? What is the economic order quantity to ship? So there's a lot of planning that goes on, really, initially.
If the freight forwarder is used to exporting machine tools, chances are they won't know all the requirements of apples going to Taiwan. So dual investigating and find out someone who knows your product and can specialize with you. Once you have established that you know what the requirements are for your shipment and that you can meet your obligations and that you understand to the best of your ability what the customer's or the buyer's obligations are, make sure you agree on that and then go ahead. If you have any question, it's okay to feel stupid, okay? It's okay to feel that you don't have all the information. Ask the question.